The Kutv Prime Time News on this 28th day of the month of November, the final Friday of this month, as we walk emphatically into the December holidays. And right here at Kutv, our very avid reporters have been up and about compiling reports on matters happening in the country and also beyond our borders. But first, let's take it off officially. My name is Emanuel Kutosi, and with me in the sign language interpretation is Francis Okenye. Of course, we invite you to join us on social media platforms at KUTV_Kenya on the X platform, KUTV Kenya on Facebook, and of course through all our YouTube pages on KUTV News Kenya. Tell a friend to tell a friend. KUTV is live online. Of course, we'll be sampling some of your sentiments later on in the broadcast. Now, beginning with our first story, where President William Ruto has launched an emphatic defense of the multi-billion shilling Rironi Mau Summit highway upgrade, framing it as not a political statement, but as a development lifeline designed to cut travel time, ease trade flows, and lower the cost of living.
Rais William Ruto amepigia upato uboreshaji wa takriban kilomita 175 kutoka Rironi.
All right, we'll be following up with that report once it's rectified. Now, ODM's Moses Okoth Omondi has won the Ugunja parliamentary seat after defeating 9 opponents in the by-election. Omondi garnered 9,447 votes to be declared Member of Parliament-elect by returning officer Dennis Omare at Tambira High School. His closest challenger, Dr. Orodi Odhiambo of the Wiper Patriotic Front, managed 1,819 votes. Voter turnout stood at 24% with only 15,017 out of 60,114 registered voters casting their ballots. In his victory speech, Omondi thanked residents for their trust and pledged to work with all leaders to develop the constituency.
I hereby declare Moses Okoth Omondi of ID number 21254651 has been duly elected as a member of National Assembly for Ugunja constituency in the election held on 27th day of November.
And elsewhere, Douglas Masikonde of the Democratic Citizens Party has been declared winner of the Narok Town Ward by-election after garnering 5,997 votes, defeating UDA's Kanyike Olekudate, who scored 4,479. IBC returning officer Mbugua Kuria announced the results at Masai Girls High School Hall, confirming that only 10,700 voters turned out from a total of 29,452 registered, with 116 ballots rejected. The poll was marked by allegations of voter bribery and a brief scuffle that was swiftly contained by security officers.
The highest votes as the winner. The highest votes according to this is 5,997, and this is none other than Douglas Twala Masikonde
wa Narok Town Ward kwa kufanya maamuzi ya kuwa mimi niwe kiongozi wao kwa muda huu.
Now, Kenya Kwanza leaders are openly mocking former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua after his preferred candidate lost the Mbeere North by-elections. UDA's Leonard Wamuthande defeated Newton Karish, prompting leaders to declare Gachagwa's influence in Mount Kenya effectively over. Public Service CS Geoffrey Ruku said the results show residents rejecting divisive politics and embracing Deputy President Kithure Kindiki as the region's new political force. Mudende echoed that his message insisting that victory signals an end to deceit and populism, even as he prepares to defend the win against an expected court challenge.
Wacha kundanganyana ovyo ovyo. Hata jana niliona ukiandika kwa Facebook yako ati nimechukua a polling station mzima. Wewe kichwa yako ni mbaya. Unapaswa uende uangaliwe na madaktari. Na hiyo maneno ambao umesunguka hapo ukijipiga kifua ukisema maneno mingi ambayo haina msingi yoyote. Watu ya hii kona ya mlima wamekwambia mchana na sio usiku ya kwamba tunataka maendeleo, hatutaki vitina. Wanataka serikali kuwe inaendelea vizuri, hawataki poronjo ambazo mmekuwa mmeaneza kila wakati. Na kwa sasa tunakuomba wewe kaa pale wa Munyoro na mbuzi yako na ng'ombe yako pale na uachane na watu ya Mlima Kenya. Na pia unjue ya kwamba Mlima Kenya iko na kiongozi ambaye anaitwa Profesa Kithure Kindiki.
Kwenda kotini ni haki ya Mkenya wowote. Waende kotini na wajitayarishe, nitawashinda pia kotini, na mimi nitahakikisha wakili wangu ameitisha pesa ya kutosha. Manake saa hii kila Mkenya ako katika hali ya kujenga taifa. Badala ya waniache mimi nihudumie watu wa Mbeere North, wanataka kwenda kotini, wakili wangu wako tayari. Hakuna ground yoyote, na mimi niseme mimi ndio nafaa kuwa naenda kotini. Kwa sababu niko na picha, niko na video, hata nitazitoa kwenu kwa media. Kwa sababu mmeona vile walikuwa wanaleta vurugu.
Now, by the numbers, the by-elections across Malava, Mbeere North, Kasipul, Ugunja and Magarini have delivered fresh political talking points, signaling regional realignment as the 2027 political season approaches. Take a look. By the numbers, the by-elections across the constituencies of Malava, Mbeere North, Kasipul, Ugunja and Magarini have delivered fresh political talking points, signaling regional realignments as the 2027 political season approaches. For the UDA party, the victories in Mbeere North and Malava were more than just wins. They were reassurance. In Mbeere North, Leonard Mudende scrapped through with 15,802 votes. Political observers say the win steadies UDA's footing in the Mount Kenya region, where energy around the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki and DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua continues to create silent but growing tensions over regional dominance.
It suggests for both sides, the government side and the opposition side, that they need to go back to the drawing board, so to speak. It might look like it was a genius move from the government in terms of the National Assembly seats. It might also look like a genius move for DCP specifically on the ward seats, but it provides a green picture of number one. I don't believe the Gen Z have that influence that we expected on a vote, so to speak.
Governance expert Karani Murimi notes that this will not be a pullback for the president in matters of assuring dominance within the regions despite the wins for the party.
On the DCP part, I do feel like there would have been a difference should the candidate for the united opposition in Embu in Mbeere North would have been from DCP. But again, being a seat that was previously held by DP and the influence of Justin Muturi, we will not really question that.
In the Western region, UDA tightened its grip with David Ndakwa clinching Malava's seat after pulling 21,564 votes, narrowly beating Seth Panyako of the DAPK party, who got 20,210 votes, a difference of just 1,354 votes.
For the biggest losers in these by-elections would have to be JB Muturi and Moses Wetangula, and to some extent Edwin Sifuna. But those I would say were the biggest losers.
And as UDA celebrated, Kenya Kwanza's coalition partner ODM was scripting its own victory narrative elsewhere. In Kasipul, ODM's Boyd Were scored a commanding win with 16,819 votes, doubling the tally of Nation Aroko, who posted 8,476 votes. The triumph, however, witnessed chaos with a violent attack on MP Peter Kaluma, an incident that has so far seen 16 suspects arrested.
That they were defending, quote-unquote defending, on the party, and the independent candidates did not, so to speak, win, including in Kilifi, where they were fighting DCP. But at the same time, they lost Kariobangi North, which now provides credibility issues on their SG.
ODM further claimed Ugunja's seat through Moses Omondi, who backed 9,447 votes. And at the coast, Harrison Kombe delivered a hat-trick for ODM in Magarini, securing 17,709 votes. The playout of the by-elections has been termed a signal that the next 18 months will unfold as a high-stake contest, with both major parties tightening their grip on strategic regions. Emanuel Kutosi, Kutv. Now, election observers under ELOG have released their preliminary report on Thursday's by-election, noting that while the process was largely orderly, several issues require urgent attention before 2027. Using 100 roving monitors across 7 counties, ELOG evaluated opening, voting and counting in more than 160 polling stations. Most stations opened on time and 93% were rated as having good conduct throughout. Now, the turnout remained below 50%. Challenges included poor ballot secrecy in 15% of stations, voter access problems in 42% of the polling regions, and the presence of unauthorized individuals. ELOG also reported isolated clashes in Kariobangi North and Machakos. The group is calling on the IEBC, political parties and security agencies to strengthen discipline, voter education, and polling station management. And away from the political drums, President William Ruto has launched an emphatic defense of the multi-billion shilling Rironi-Mau Summit Highway upgrade, framing it as not a political statement but as a development lifeline designed to cut travel time, ease trade flows and lower the cost of living.
Speaking aboard a flight and later at Kamarunda in Kiambu County, President William Ruto said the 175-kilometer upgrade stretching from Rironi to Mau Summit is about transforming daily life of farmers, traders and commuters who rely on the corridor to move goods and access essential services.
Tuko Rironi, akere Kamandura. This is where we're starting the works.
Ruto dismissed critics saying they are obsessed with the 2027 politics instead of development. He insisted the road is central to his broader economic agenda, linking agriculture, affordable housing and food accessibility.
Hii Kenya tutaibadilisha. I promise you, this country, hii nchi yetu, imechelewa na maendeleo. Na sasa ndio tumefikia hiyo wakati ya kusema we no longer want mediocrity in our equation. We no longer want the average in our equation. We no longer want the normal and the similar in our equation.
The highway part of the northern corridor that carries thousands of trucks daily will be expanded into a dual carriageway, complete with modern interchanges, tolling system, pedestrian bridges, trucks bay, and safety features. A supplementary 58 kilometers per hour from Nairobi Mai Mahiu to Naivasha brings the total upgrade to 233 kilometers.
Kazi ya kuendesha taifa ni kazi ngumu. Saa zingine iko na matatizo mengi. Lakini kwa mapenzi ya Mungu, kwa usaidizi wa Mungu, Kenya hii tutaibadilisha. Tumeteremusha bei ya mbolea na mnajua, ni kweli ama si kweli? Tumeweka mpango mkubwa niliwaeleza.
The head of state said the first priority is the Rironi-Gilgil stretch, promising completion in 6 months, an assurance that will be closely watched by motorists long frustrated by years of gridlock and stalled progress.
Nation such as Japan has built more than 1 million kilometers, a contrast that underscores the scale of our long-standing infrastructure gap. This new Kenyan path centers on investing in our people.
Under the public-private partnership model, the project will be financed through 75% debt and 25% equity, with NSSF expected to anchor nearly half of the equity injection. Contractors will design, expand, operate, and maintain the road under a 28-year toll concession.
Toka hapa Kamandura mpaka Gilgil tumekubaliana na contractor. Hii barabara ndani ya miezi 6 itakuwa imekamilika kufika pale Gilgil. Nimesema miezi ngapi? Nimesema miezi ngapi? Miezi 6. Musikie vizuri.
Ruto framed the project as a gateway to prosperity, arguing it will unlock trade, agriculture and tourism across Kiambu, Nakuru and neighboring counties, while keeping Kenya's debt levels in check through new financing models.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa William Ruto, the president, kwa sababu ya kututengenezea hii barabara. Katika Nakuru na Kiambu, we have suffered a lot. Watu wakijaribu kurudi nyumbani ama kutoka Nakuru kwenda Nairobi, tumelala kwa barabara kama siku 3. Kwa hivyo sisi tumefurahia sana.
Sisi wana Kiambu ndio beneficiaries wa kwanza. Na nataka rais niseme hii barabara tukiijenga sasa, kule juu itashikana na ile barabara nyingine tunajenga ambaye inaenda mpaka Roiro kupitia Githunguri.
During His Excellency's successful state visit to China this April, the two heads of state reached a series of strategic and forward-looking consensus that charted the long-term course of bilateral relations, including encouraging exploration of new opportunities for cooperation and promoting further investment in Kenya.
The government says at least 15,000 youth will receive technical training and employment during construction, with more opportunities flowing to local suppliers and roadside businesses along the corridor. Yvonne Kemuma, KUTV.
2 minutes past the top of the hour, and it's time for our first breather right here on the Friday edition of the KUTV Prime Time News. We take a short break. We'll be back with more in a moment. Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of Action. Welcome.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke akabaini jinsi ya kuweni. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake nami Caroline Kimwele.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of the Kutv Prime Time News. Now, teachers in Kiambu County are raising alarm over the country's readiness for the Grade 10 CBC transition set for January. Kuppet officials say most teachers expected to handle Grade 10 have not been adequately retooled, while key textbooks remain unavailable due to pending government payments to publishers. They also cite a shortage of specialists for subjects such as indigenous languages and community service learning. Speaking during their campaign launch, the teachers urged the Ministry of Education to address these gaps urgently to prevent disruptions and protect learning quality.
So what we are having is a system that's supposed to ensure that our students discover their talents. But it has been made to go around, and it is starting to look again like an 844 system because it is being measured on exams. I would like to urge the government, look at all the students and the pupils in Kenya. There are millions of them. Stop playing with the education of our students, the education of our children. Currently, we're expecting the grade 10 students to be admitted on 12th of January 2026, but there are no books. The teachers have not even had the curriculum designs so that they can know what they are working in. The retooling exercise that was done, a third of the teachers in the Republic, they went for retooling in August. There's another retooling for another third of the teachers coming up in December. But going from the people who have attended those things, it's as if the government is not really keen on having this system to work.
Now, a Bomet court has sentenced 3 men to 35 years in prison each after finding them guilty of gang raping a woman in Chepalungu sub-county 2 years ago. The convicts, Carlos Sigay and his brothers Weldon and Anderson, were arrested in December 2023 after a video of their assault went viral, prompting national outrage. Delivering the judgment, Chief Magistrate Esther Bukit described the crime as severe and deeply traumatizing, noting that the sharing of the video only worsened the victim's suffering and exposed her to further stigma. We rush on to the Nyanza region, where children's rights stakeholders in Migori have been urged to intensify awareness on children's rights and privileges. Speaking during the close of the Children Justice Service Month, High Court Judge Anne Ominjo said the initiative aims to remind institutions of their duty to protect minors, noting delays in children-related cases undermine their dignity. She warned that lack of funding has denied Migori a children's remand home and child protection units, forcing minors to mix with adults in cells. Stakeholders now plan to set up a child protection unit.
Our concern is lack of resources, which has made us not even to have a children's remand home in the county. The only one in South Nyanza is Manga Children's Remand Home. It is so far, and it makes us not to hear and determine the cases as soon as is required by the law, because when a child is in conflict with the law, their cases is supposed to be heard and determined within 6 months.
So we are going to be going to schools to just inform the children about their rights and also the Constitution, and to give them some general knowledge about what the law says about issues to do with children, and also generally informing them about the law.
Now, despite Article 77, Chapter 2 of the Constitution, and reinforced by Political Parties Act and multiple laws, integrity laws, senior government administrators, including cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries, have been visibly active in campaigns leading up to the November 27th by-elections. A trend not only controversial, but one that raises fundamental questions ahead of the 2027 general election. Our political affairs desk has this analytical report.
But in the heat of the November 27th by-elections, many cabinet and principal secretaries were seen on the front lines of campaign rallies, contrary to clear constitutional and statutory provisions. The Constitution is explicit. An appointed state officer shall not hold office in a political party.
Hapa kwa sababu sisi kama watu wa serikali ya His Excellency the President tulikuwa tunatakikana kukuja hapa ndio tuuze zera za serikali yetu na to support candidate wa UDA huyu anaitwa Leo wa Mudhende, among other things zile tulikuwa tumekuja kufanya.
The Political Parties Act reinforces this, barring public officers from serving party interests or projecting partisan alignment. And the Office of the Ombudsman reminds them that such activities compromise neutrality, politicize the public service, and may constitute misuse of public resources.
Constitution actually purpose to have issues of leadership and integrity included in our governance as a system, and so they created a whole chapter for leadership and integrity. In that chapter is where you will find provisions on the conduct of state officers, on the responsibilities of leadership, and issues on financial probity and stuff like that. And all these were used to create a buffer for them not engaging in conflict issues, in political engagement.
Ni vizuri to promote hawa wakaaji wa Embu katika hii auction ya Isiara, and we have had a very good day when we are promoting the economy of the people of Embu and the greater people of Eastern Kenya, this being one of our motive of bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
Yet the practice appears to persist.
Kuna sub-locations 4 hazijakuwa operationalized. Kwa chini ya mwezi moja ijayo tutakuwa tumezi operationalized ili wakaaji wa hapa Kasipul wao wanaweza kupata huduma kamili ya serikali. Wangapi wamekubaliana na mambo hayo?
And there's more. In these by-elections, cabinet secretaries have repeatedly promised roads, water projects, health facilities, development offers tied directly to the fortunes of preferred candidates.
We have provisions, yes, but we do not have a mechanism of enforcing these provisions. Same thing you see with regards to a party, a member of parliament either resigning from a party or switching parties in the house. He's supposed to lose that seat immediately, but it never happens because what is required is that legislative instrument created in parliament. So they make sure they don't pass it.
Hii serikali ya William Ruto ni ya maendeleo. Juzi akasema tutajenga viwanja. Na hapa Embu, wajua ile uwanja wa Moi Stadium, kuna mahali kiasi ilikuwa imebaki. na kuna contractor amekuwa kwa site, saa hizi amemaliza.
A questionable precedent, as it implies services are conditional, not constitutional.
That's where we have, I would say, a lacuna. If we could have a way of making these laws pass without being in parliament, which is impossible, then that would have helped us. But at the moment, all these things have to go through parliament, and if they have to go through parliament, all the executive needs to do is have control of parliament, and none of these provisions will ever be enforced.
Na kwa wenye wanasema hao ni ODM tuchezeni hapa Nyanza, lakini jueni ODM iko Kenya mzima, na sisi tutafanya vile tumekuwa tukifanya. So ile ya Western na Luo mcheze tu, lakini kwetu kwingine tuko penye tumekuwa. Asante sana, tuko kazi.
The coming 2027 race may see even deeper politicization within the state's administrative structure, and that raises the final uncomfortable question. If the public service becomes partisan now, what happens when the stakes rise in 2027? Emanuel Kutosi, Kutv.
Kwani yeye ni nani?
And now to matters business, where the Nairobi Securities Exchange and the National Securities Exchange of Somalia have signed a landmark memorandum of understanding aimed at boosting cross-border investment and financial integration in East Africa. The agreement establishes a framework for dual listings, Sukuk Development Technology Cooperation, and investor education programs. The officials say the partnership links Somalia's emerging capital market with Kenya's established bourse, expanding opportunities for regional issuers and diaspora investors. The MOU also strengthens collaborations under the East African Security Exchanges Association and supports the long-term goal of an integrated regional market. 36 minutes past the top of the hour, and we have come to the end of the final bulletin of the month of November, that is on this particular Friday. We move on to the weekend, where you'll be meeting up with Ching Cynthia tomorrow for updates on matters happening in the country and also beyond our borders. A big thank you to the whole team involved in the production of tonight's broadcast, of course led by my producer Yvonne Kimamunari and the technical team on the other end, ensuring everything comes to you in a way that is seamless. Of course, good night to you from me, Emanuel Kutosi, and Francis Okenyi on the sign language interpretation. See you next time. Good night, sweet dreams.